Phoenix Lights. The Phoenix Lights were a series of widely sighted unidentified flying objects, observed by thousands of people in the skies over the US states of Arizona, Nevada, and the Mexican state of Sonora back in 1997, between 7:30 and 10:30 Mountain Standard Time on the evening of March 13th. Unexplained lights were witnessed by thousands of people from the Nevada line through Phoenix to the edge of Tucson. This unusual event involved two distinct occurrences. First, a series of stationary lights seen in the Phoenix area. Second, a triangular formation of lights seen to fly over the Phoenix state. The first reported sighting was made around 6:55 PST or 7:55 MST, where a man witnessed a V-shaped object above Henderson, Nevada, and explained that it was about the size of a Boeing 747 aircraft, and it had 6 lights on the leading edge. He said it was heading in a southeasterly direction and sounded like rushing wind. The next sighting was made near Paulden, Arizona at 8:16 in the evening, where a former police officer, together with his family, witnessed some unusual lights moving rapidly across the night sky. He described what they saw as a very strange cluster of red-orange lights, which consisted of 4 or 5 red lights in the lead, followed by a single light which appeared to be standing back from the others. The lights in front looked like a V or wedge shape. Callers from Prescott and Prescott Valley, approximately 50 miles north of Phoenix, reported that at approximately 8:17 p.m. they witnessed 4 or 5 very bright white lights pass overhead. They reported that what they saw seemed to be a triangular shaped object, with a complex grouping of lights along its sides. One witness was standing outside with his wife and sons in Prescott Valley, when they noticed a cluster of lights to the west-northwest. The lights formed a triangle, but all of them appeared to be red except for a light at the nose of the object, which was white. They observed for several minutes as the lights passed directly over their heads, banked to the right, and then disappeared to the southeast. All of the observers described the lights as gliding soundlessly through the night sky. There was absolutely no sound at all coming from them. Just a few minutes later, people in Prescott and Prescott Valley witnessed 4 or 5 bright white lights pass above them. They reported that what they saw seemed to be a triangular shaped object with lights along its sides. One witness was standing outside with his family in Prescott Valley when they noticed a set of lights towards the northwest. They described seeing red lights in a triangular shape with a single white nose light. They watched the lights pass above them in complete silence as they headed towards the southeast. The next sighting came from Dewey on Highway 69. Several people driving towards Prescott saw lights in the shape of a V. They stopped their vehicle in a nearby car park to view the phenomena. After exiting, they looked up and saw several very large bright lights, which they estimated not to be more than 1,000 foot high. Again, no sound whatsoever could be heard. The next witnesses of this bizarre event came from Chino Valley, Tempe, Glendale, and Phoenix, where thousands of people are said to have witnessed these unexplained lights. The most frequently seen sequence of lights shows what appears to be an arc of lights, appearing one by one, then going out one by one. UFO advocates claim that these images show that the lights were some form of running light or aircraft illumination along the leading edge of the craft, estimated to be as large as a mile in diameter, hovering over the city of Phoenix. Other similar sequences, reportedly taken over half an hour, show differing number of lights in a V shape. Thousands of witnesses throughout Arizona also reported a silent, mile-wide V or boomerang-shaped craft with varying numbers of huge orbs. A significant number of witnesses reported that the craft was silently gliding directly overhead at a low altitude. The first-hand witnesses consistently reported that the lights appeared as canisters of swimming light, while the underbelly of the craft was undulating, like looking through water. Generally, the sightings seem to move southward from Paulden to Prescott to Phoenix and finally to Casa Grande and then Tucson, where at 8:45 a man witnessed the formation of lights for a solid quarter of an hour. He explained that they came in from the northwest, flew overhead for several minutes and then disappeared to the south as they headed towards the mountains. The unidentified flying objects were also observed in the skies of the US state of Nevada and the Mexican state of Sonora. The following day, March 14th, the Air Force denied any knowledge of the sightings, even refusing to admit receiving phone calls of the sightings at Luke Air Force Base, close to Phoenix, the day before. This is in spite of a rumour that an operator at Luke had told a caller that she was being flooded with UFO calls that night, and also in spite of witnesses' phone bills, which proved they called the base that evening. Reportedly, on March 14th, the National UFO Reporting Center received a telephone call from a person who said he was an airman at Luke Air Force Base, and explained that a couple of F-15 fighters were scrambled from Luke Air Force Base and intercepted a huge object over the intersection of Indian School Road and 7th Avenue. According to this caller, the onboard radar had gone to a condition of white noise, and the UFO lights began dimming, then disappeared altogether. So what happened? Did we get a friendly visit from another world? Was it a top-secret military aircraft? At first glance it seems unlikely it be the latter. After all, why would any authority fly a top-secret aircraft over such a populated area, where thousands would witness the event, take photos and film with their high-tech camcorders? The government says it was flares. Later investigations by the Arizona National Guard found that the visiting Maryland Air National Guard was running an exercise called Operation Snowbird along the Barry Goldwater gunnery range to the southwest of Tucson on that evening. The Arizona Air National Guard found that the Maryland force flew 8 A-10s and dropped high-intensity flares on the way back to Davis-Monthan Air Force Base at Tucson. A spokesman for Luke Air Force Base confirmed that the Maryland planes were authorized to use the Goldwater range from 9:30 to 10 that evening. Much of the press jumped on this explanation and stated that the mystery had been solved. However, it had not. Assuming that the flare operation took place at the stated time, from 9:30 to 10 p.m, then that is well after the reports from Phoenix and from the north of Phoenix. TV news showed videos of flares over mountains, but they can't be what the earlier witnesses saw, beginning from 7:45 p.m. MST. These witnesses included airline pilots, architects, law enforcement officers and attorneys, to name just some. Another important point is the video of the flares shown on the various American news networks. It's not thought to be from the day in question. By chance, a time after the event, a local television crew noticed a military exercise going on, and were surprised to observe that the flares being used looked similar in their view to the lights seen on March 13th. They filmed this event, declaring that they had solved the mystery of the Phoenix lights. However, Village Labs subjected the film of the flares to scientific scrutiny and showed that they had completely different light properties to the Phoenix lights. A non-extraterrestrial possibility is that a stealth-like aircraft may have left Area 51 Groom Lake and flew over Lake Mead, and then east into Arizona towards the Grand Canyon. It then turned south and flew over Paulden, Prescott, Phoenix and down to Tucson before turning back northwest and returning to Area 51. Was it one very large solid vehicle or several flying in formation? This is very hard to answer with any degree of certainty, as some witnesses described seeing one large solid object the size of 5 football fields in silhouette blocking out the stars, whilst others said they thought they could see the stars between the lights. Did the occupants want to be seen, or did someone forget to switch the cloaking device on? Shortly after the event, Arizona Governor Fife Symington held a press conference stating they found who was responsible. He proceeded to make light of the situation by bringing his colleague on stage, dressed in an alien costume. But in March 2007, Symington said that he had witnessed one of the crafts of unknown origin during the 1997 event, although he did not go public with the information at the time. In a later interview with the Daily Courier in Prescott, Arizona, Symington said, "I'm a pilot and I know just about every machine that flies. It was bigger than anything that I've ever seen. It remains a great mystery. Other people saw it, responsible people. I don't know why people would ridicule it." Symington had earlier said, "It was enormous and inexplicable. Who knows where it came from? A lot of people saw it and I saw it too. It was dramatic. And it couldn't have been flares because it was too symmetrical. It had a geometric outline, a constant shape." Symington also noted that he requested information from the commander of Luke Air Force Base, the General of the National Guard, and the head of the Department of Public Safety. But none of the officials he contacted had an answer for what had happened and were also perplexed. Later he responded to an Air Force explanation that the lights were flares. "As a pilot and a former Air Force officer, I can definitely say that this craft did not resemble any man-made object I've ever seen. And it certainly was not high-altitude flares, because flares don't fly in formation." Symington also commented in a TV interview with reference to the event that you could just feel in your gut that it was otherworldly. Frances Barwood, the 1997 Phoenix City Council lady, launched an investigation into the cause. She said that of the over 700 witnesses she had interviewed, the government never interviewed even one. So what do you think happened on that strange and unusual evening? The government's explanation does not appear to hold much water. The earlier witnesses reported seeing lights a long time before the flares were deployed, and Paulden is a couple of 100 miles north of Tucson. Many witnesses also claim that the lights were at a low altitude, passing silently over their head and travelling generally in a southerly direction. Was it extraterrestrial, a top-secret aircraft, flares, or something else? Let me know what you think. The Phoenix Lights is one mystery that refuses to go away. We make videos on all things paranormal and unexplained. Please check out my other videos and consider liking and subscribing. Thanks for watching.